All right, we're on.
Ready, Phil?
We're on in 5, 4.
When the clock struck 6, it meant one thing for Ron Burgundy and his news team. Go time.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of News Flash. This is Tanks for the Mammeries, and today we've got a rather large news flash for you regarding armored warfare. There's a couple of things I'd like to talk about today. The first one that I'm going to cover is the contest that's going on right now. Today is July 13th, and it is the end of round 1 of the Freedom Fight event that is taking place on armored warfare. The first round was from July 4th to July 23rd. It ended today, where players would have an opportunity to win exclusive vehicles as well as boosts and special decals. The Freedom Fight is split into 2 separate rounds. The first one, as I said, was from July 4th to July 13th, and the second round, which starts tomorrow, is the Bastille Day round, which is from the 14th of July to the 23rd of July. During each round, the top 10 PvP and the top 100 PvP and the top 100 PvE players of Tier 3, 6, and 9 vehicles, regardless of the type of vehicle, will win the following prizes. From 1st to 10th place, there's an exclusive vehicle, 7 days of 50% boost to credit and reputation income. From 11th to 100th place, 7 days of 50% boost to credit and reputation income. Additionally, players who play at least 10 PvE or PvP battles during round 1 will receive an exclusive Independence Day decal. Any player who plays at least 10 PvE or PvP battles in round 2 will receive an exclusive Bastille Day decal. So basically, you can't combine the two. You can't combine PvP and PvE. You have to do 10 in one or the other or both. But what you do is you play 10 rounds on PvP or PvE in any vehicle in Tier 3, 6, or 9, and at the end of that you will receive either a boost to credit or income or an exclusive decal. What they do is they take the average of 10 of your games over this period of time and do the reputation based on the average of your games, and that's how you get your score. You can go to Armored Warfare, look up Freedom Fight, and see where you stand in the ranking of 1 to 100. If you're in the top 10, you'll get a vehicle. The first vehicle they were giving away for the top 10 players is the XM1 FSED. Last week I did a review on that vehicle. It is basically it's the step between the XM1 and the prototype vehicle. This is where basically the Army told the engineers to put down their pens and build the vehicle, and this is the first one they built. It is called the XM1 FSED. It's a pretty good vehicle. It's real slow, but the gun is really accurate. It's a pretty good vehicle. So anyway, that's available for players who are in the top 10% of reputation earned during this event and Freedom Fight. Starting tomorrow, Bastille Day, the top 10 players in both PvE and PvP will receive the AMX-10 RCR, which is a Tier 8 tank destroyer from France. The AMX-10 RCR is the updated variant of the French AMX-10 RC fire support vehicle by Giat, originally developed in the early 1980s. This light and nimble wheeled 6x6 armored fighting vehicle is armed with a 105mm gun, allowing it to knock out even armored targets at considerable distances. In 2010, over 200 of these aging vehicles were upgraded by Nexter with improved armor and electronics, making it able to fulfill tasks on the modern battlefield until their eventual replacement by Jaguar. Here are the specific rules regarding this contest that's going on now, and you guys get the opportunity to get in there starting tomorrow for the Bastille Day portion of it. The top 100 players are determined by the average amount of reputation obtained from a player's best 10 PvP or PvE battles played during each round. And what they mean by best is in terms of base reputation income. So the top 100 players are determined by the average amount of reputation obtained from a player's best 10 PvP or PvE battles played during each round. PvP and PvE ranks are separate. Please note the base reputation mentioned herein is not a visible statistic in the game. In order to qualify and be ranked, players must play at least 10 PvP or PvE battles as in the corresponding tier. That's 3, 6, or 9. There are no restrictions on the tank class or the number of games played in a tank class. As long as a player has completed 10 matches in a tier, they will be ranked. Each round will have separate ranking that will reset at the end of round 1. It is possible to win in each round, but only once. A player who ranks during one round in more than one category, for example, Tier 3 PvP, Tier 3 PvE, and Tier 6 PvP, will only receive one reward, the highest one. So, you can win each round of the contest, but only one time. And only in one tier. So, whatever your highest tier is the one that you're going to win for PvP and PvE. Please note, Round 1 starts on the 4th of July and ends on the 13th of July. Round 2 starts on the 14th of July and ends on the 23rd of July. Exclusive vehicles will also be available for purchase on the Armored Warfare website. Should a player who already owns such a vehicle win it as part of this event, he or she will receive the vehicle's price in gold instead. 7,000 gold for the XM1 and 11,000 gold for the AMX-10 RCR. Ranking is available on the website. Please note that the ranking updates in 1-hour intervals. Ranking rewards and decals will be distributed at the end of each round. Any punishment issued by the support team for an offense against the game rules within the event time limit will lead to automatic disqualification from the event. My.com reserves the right to disqualify any players attempting to unfairly manipulate battle outcome, so-called match rigging, from the contest. So that's the rules for that, and you guys get in there and get playing, and we will take a look next here at the details about the patch that took place, and I'll give you some of the information on that. It's a pretty big patch with lots of things that happened to it, and if you download your game now, if you want to play, you'll see the patch that will take some time to download and give you all the new features. So we'll come back to that in just a second. Okay, so before we move on to the patch notes, I just want to clarify that you have to play 10 rounds in Tier 3, or 10 rounds in Tier 6, or 10 rounds in Tier 9 in PvE or PvP to be ranked so that you get the opportunity to get the vehicle and or the credits and reputation and or the stickers. So you can't just play 3 in Tier 3 and 3 in Tier 6 and 4 in Tier 9. You've got to play 10 in Tier 3, 10 in Tier 6, and 10 in Tier 9, or any, whether it's PvE or PvP, in order to get ranked. So just make sure you guys are aware of that. All right, so now moving on, there's a big patch here, and I'm not going to go into all the tiny detail about every single thing that took place in this patch. Download it, check it out. I'll go through most of the big stuff. I'll do a big summary, and then I'll sort of hit the highlights of some of the more detail that I think is kind of important. I want to try and keep the length of this video down some. Anyway, for update 0.16, the first of a series contains a number of changes and fixes that were requested by the community. So they're going to be taking more and more of the community input and trying to make those changes for future updates. These changes are a necessary foundation for vehicle balancing that cannot be implemented without them. While this update does contain some changes to the in-game vehicles, the majority of the balancing will be implemented later on. But the main features include gameplay improvements based on the community feedback, new high-tier vehicles, the loot system, updated sound effects, 3 new PvE missions, which I'm very excited about, and a new Commendation System, which is kind of weird. I played it now, and I think it's a bit distracting during the game. I'm probably going to turn it off. Gameplay improvements that are based on the community feedback. There's a summary here, which basically is a large number of core gameplay improvements and issue fixes will be introduced to Armored Warfare. These include fixes for the shot delay, incorrect turret facing, and shot normalization changes. In update 0.16, they're also introducing improvements to game performance. They've made some optimization to reduce the overall number of terrain draw calls requested on each map. Other gameplay changes requested by the community that have been included in this are updating collision interactions between vehicles and destructible props such as cars, trees, walls, fences, etc. As a result, vehicles should no longer slow down drastically when driving through such objects. They fixed an issue which caused AI vehicles to rubber band on the minimap when spotted. They added the ability to disable in-game shadows completely in the options menu. They added the ability to unmount equipped retrofits and store them for later use on the same vehicle. Updated the playable space on Umbrella to allow players to use the full map once again. Added hull traverse values to engine tooltips and vehicle stat windows. Corrected excessive high explosive shell damage. There's more changes on the website, so if you're interested in all that, the link will be in the video description below, and I will link directly to the additional details on all the changes that took place there. For the new vehicles, there's some new high-tier vehicles. In Update 0.16, they're introducing the T-15 HIFV Tier 10 Armored Fighting Vehicle. That is the new Russian AFV based on the T-14 Armata chassis. They are also introducing the PLT-02 Tier 7 Premium TD, which is a Chinese tank destroyer, wheeled tank destroyer. They're introducing the loot system, which will reward players with supply crates full of awesome items to help out with the progression in all kinds of ways. So basically, each time players participate in a match, be it PvP or PvE, they will have the chance to be rewarded with a supply crate. Both the chance to earn the supply crate and its quality level are strongly influenced by the player's overall performance in the match, with higher reputation scores yielding better rewards whether or not the player was on the winning team. So even if you're on the losing team, if you do a standout job, you have the opportunity to win a loot crate. In addition, completing daily challenges will provide players with a reliable way to earn supply crates. You can get them every day. If you complete the daily challenge, you will get a supply crate. In the future, new features will also award supply crates. To start with, supply crates in 0.16 will provide players with credits, global reputation, consumables, boosts, and insignias. And the insignias can be placed on the vehicle. They're sort of like signal flags in World of Warships, but they can be placed on the vehicles, and depending on what insignias you install, it at various levels, there's like bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Each one gives you a certain percentage increase in like the commander's skill levels and the crew skill levels in, I guess, like vehicle camouflage, or improves some of the add-ons that you put in the vehicle. So anyway, so you can install different ones into different categories, and you'll see that when you get into the thing. I'll actually post a copy of that here on the video. They've updated sound effects. The sounds in Armored Warfare have undergone huge revamp in this patch. Basically, every major sound system has been given new sounds, and they've added several distinct sound effects for gameplay systems, which previously lacked sufficient audio cues. As a result, players will now be immersed in a much more atmospheric experience in Armored Warfare. Some of the new sound systems include all new sounds for each cannon caliber, new engine sounds for both diesel and turbine engines, gear changes and gearbox whine, unique impact sounds for high explosive, armor piercing, and heat, unique terrain impact sounds, sounds for turret rotation, ricochets, and for shells whizzing by. I did notice when I was playing the XM800 that it sounds like a race car, which is kind of cool, actually. So also when the vehicle starts, when the countdown is going on at the beginning of the match, and you're counting down from 13 seconds down to 0, your vehicle will crank up. You'll hear the engine starter winding up, and then the engine will crank up right as it counts down to 0. So that's pretty cool. They've introduced 3 new PvE missions. Operation 0 Hour, which is where a group of saboteurs has infiltrated the security of a prototype nuclear reactor, which is about to come online, and they've planted explosives around it. They threaten not only the destruction of the facility, but endangering the region, its inhabitants for miles around. With little time to spare and a large-scale disaster to avert, you must protect the facility, evacuate the civilians trapped in the plant, and put a stop to the enemy's forces in Operation 0 Hour. So that's pretty cool. Operation Erebus, a key cartel airfield, has so far avoided discovery, hidden among the lush foliage of an all-but-forgotten island, despite the illegal shipments going to and coming. That's weird. despite illegal shipments going around the area that influence the region's resources and economy. Only by the cover of darkness can you secure the site in Operation Erebus, where destroying this tactical point of operation means eliminating the enemy's financial stranglehold on the region. Destroy the airfield and then exfil and make your escape before enemy reinforcements arrive. It's basically the map where you got to save the nuclear weapons that were on the ship that ran aground. It's that map, but at night. Operation Basilisk, a power plant in jeopardy. Stolen hazardous materials. Enemies hiding in plain sight. Les Effrois have attacked a power plant that supplies the locals with energy, hoping to destroy the region's largest valuable asset and convenient source of power. In Operation Basilisk, it's up to you to stop the enemy's attack on the nuclear power plant and take back the materials they have pilfered before time runs out. Anyway, it's pretty cool. So these are new. They're not new maps. They're new missions on existing maps for PvE, but they're cool. I played the power plant one twice. Anyway, it's pretty fun. As far as the commendation thing is concerned, they've got this new commendation system. It is optional, but when a player performs an action that earns them reputation and credits, they now also see a visible representation of that in the game. It like pops up on the screen while you're playing. It is a bit disconcerting because it's like got this super futuristic sound effect that goes with it, and pops a little like icon up on the screen. But for example, when you kill an enemy vehicle, you get this little Slayer award. Assisting with a kill is called Wingman. Damaging an enemy is called Bruiser. Assisting damage is called Facilitator. Designated damage, like if you're a scout vehicle, is called Tactician. Spotting an enemy is a Scout. Spotting damage is Instigator. Allies hidden by smoke shells, grenades is called Blinder. Destroying enemy modules is called Saboteur. Killing enemy crew is called Widowmaker. Base capture, Infiltrator, base defense, Defender. Completing an objective is called Operative. Basically, the goals of these commendations is to provide real-time visual feedback to players in order to notify them whenever they've earned some rewards. Commendations themselves do not provide additional rewards. It's basically just telling you, hey, you just did something that's earned you credits and reputation. And that's cool. It's good to know. Sometimes you don't actually see what it is that you've done, and I think this is kind of helpful. But again, if there's a way to turn the sound off, I'd turn the sound off. That's just me. The goal, let's see. Moving on, gameplay mechanics. The shot delay issue, which has been around forever, primarily in PvE. They have improved how shots are modeled in Armor Warfare in several ways to mitigate the shot delay issue players have been experiencing. Players should now find their shots landing in the correct area after firing at a vehicle which is on the move. To accomplish this, they've made the following changes. They minimize the delay of network packet processing of both the client and server for shot requests by ensuring they are now sent and processed in the highest priority. They've added predictive weapons firing on the local client. In doing so, they now spawn the fire projectile immediately when the trigger is pulled instead of waiting for the server to first confirm the shot. They've added server-side lag compensation when simulating physics for the projectile to improve the effects of network latency. Basically, these changes should make the game more comfortable to play, and they're very interested in getting feedback from you guys on this. So if you still notice things or have issues about it, please do let them know. Then moving on, normalization, which was another big deal. They've made some normalization changes. Basically, under the previous implementation of hit resolution, armor-piercing ammo types would normalize upon impact with any part of a vehicle they impacted by up to 5 degrees, meaning the projectile would turn in towards the surface normal of the armor. In other words, the steepness of the projectile's angle of impact would be reduced by up to 5 degrees or more if you had retrofits. The result of normalization was that it reduces the effective armor thickness that a projectile must pass through in order to penetrate. However, a secondary effect of normalization was that the projectile's vector, or direction of travel, was also adjusted, which means the shell changes direction if it penetrates the first layer of armor it impacts. It was discovered that there were many cases where the normalization effect of redirecting a projectile's path from hitting tracks, wheels, thin-spaced armor, and other weak parts of a vehicle would result in situations where weakly armored sections of a vehicle could be hit after normalization, even though the shooter would not be able to aim at those weak points directly. To resolve these issues, Armor-piercing projectiles will no longer normalize when impacting thin or weak surfaces on a vehicle. For example, they will no longer normalize when hitting wheels or road wheels, treads, cannons, or prop parts such as bags, bedrolls, stowage, and other non-critical external components. They've made some changes to crew and component HP. They've slightly reduced hit points for external gas tanks and internal ammo racks. Basically, in their analysis of module damage, they discovered that a vehicle would often be destroyed before these components were damaged enough to cause any major change in gameplay. They've also reduced the hit points and saving throws for crew members. Prior to this patch, it was incredibly rare to see crew members knocked out in a vehicle. As a result, this made crew skills designed to increase damage to crew members feel very lackluster and made medical kits irrelevant. These changes should make shooting vehicles with the intent to knock out crew a much more viable tactic. And I've noticed that actually in a couple of games here. I started having my crew get knocked out, and certainly was knocking out the crew on enemy vehicles when I hit the sides of turrets and stuff like that. Let's talk a little bit more specifically about the loot system. So they've added this loot system to Armored Warfare, which consists of supply crates, as I said before. Boosts are awarded by supply crates can come of one of 5 different quality levels. So basically, the boost that you get in the crate is one of 5 levels. The higher quality boosts provide larger rewards across more progression mechanics than lower quality level ones. Insignias are vehicle-specific bonuses that players can apply to whatever vehicles they want, but they only last one match, just like signal flags and World of Warships. Like boosts, these insignias come in 5 quality levels, which determine the magnitude of the bonus. However, insignias will always only affect a specific progression mechanic: credits, reputation, global reputation, crew XP, or commander XP. And you'll see that when you go to put that boost into a slot in the window that you can use them for, you will see that it's divided into those categories: credits, reputation, global reputation, crew XP, or commander XP. And then depending on what it is, whether it's bronze, silver, gold, or platinum, whatever the combination is, that determines like 10% for bronze, 20% for silver, 30% for gold, 40% for platinum. Whatever the actual percentage is, that's how it works. A new inventory screen which contains a player's accrued supply crates, boosts, insignias, consumables, and premium time is now accessible via the supply crate in the bottom left corner of the garage. A new insignias tab can now be found in the vehicle maintenance tab. One of each insignia type can be activated on a vehicle simultaneously, which means you can have 1 credits insignia, 1 reputation insignia, 1 global reputation insignia, 1 crew XP, and 1 commander XP, all going at the same time. You cannot have 2 commander XPs going at the same time, only 1 of each category. But you can have all the categories going. Let's see what else here. Boost changes. They're giving players more control over when their boosts are activated going forward. All boosts have a 12-hour duration instead of variable durations. Any boost that players currently possess will be converted over into multiple 12-hour boosts so you don't lose any of your time. For example, if you had a 3-day boost in your inventory back in patch 15, in patch 16 that boost will be converted into 6 12-hour 50% credit reputation boosts. Players not going to be penalized for activating a boost and then not being able to play every consecutive day that the boost was active. However, now that boosts will be awarded for various items in the game, we have had to reduce the number of boosts that can be active at one time. Players will have 2 boost slots which can be used for activating boosts in inventory. At least 1 boost slot will be available for free. Activating 2 boosts at the same time will require a small amount of gold. Activating a new boost while another one is still active will require overwriting the old boost. That does remove a little bit of the flexibility that existed being able to stack multiple boosts simultaneously before, but the change was necessary in order for them to be able to balance regularly awarding boosts for free from now on. There's daily challenges. With the introduction of the loot system, players will see non-credit challenge rewards replaced with different quality supply crates. Completing any of the 3 available challenges in any order will award you the following. So there's 3 challenges when you go into your garage. You know, if you complete any of the challenges in any order, you will get the following. Completing 1 challenge of any sort awards you with 150,000 credits. Completing 2 challenges of any sort awards you with a bronze supply crate. If you complete all 3 challenges of any sort, you will be awarded a silver supply crate. Daily challenges are also now more randomized in difficulty, but you have the highest chance of getting easy challenges, then medium, and finally hard. So it's like 50% of the challenges are going to be easy, and then, the other, let's call it 40% are going to be medium difficulty challenges, and 10% are going to be hard challenges. Don't hold me to those specific percentage points, but basically that's how it's going to work. Assists will now also be counted towards completing daily challenges, which will require players to kill enemy vehicles. Some miscellaneous stuff that's taken place in this patch. They've added the ability to dismount equipment retrofits and store them for later use on the same vehicle. Not different vehicles, but the same vehicle. The first win flag icon has been replaced with a reputation icon, which varies based on the multiplier currently active. They've added hull traverse values to engine tooltips and the vehicle stat windows. As I said, you can disable in-game shadows. They've added a share button to the replay screen to allow players to share any selected replay. Players can now use the report abuse option to report players on their friends lists. Let's see what else. They made some changes to different vehicles, and I'll go through some of those. As I said, some of them were kind of important, including some of the defense systems. But let's talk about some of these vehicle changes. The Tank Destroyer class ability changes. They've made some changes to the Tank Destroyer class ability, gun suppression, which will make it easier to use and increase the effectiveness of the ability. The movement restriction, where players must be stationary for 2 seconds before being able to activate the ability, has been removed. Additionally, movement while the ability is active no longer cancels the ability. So if you're in a TD, somewhere very far away, hiding in the bushes, and you want to move a little bit, you can move. It does not deactivate the ability. Also, when you can hit it as you're coming to a stop, and it doesn't take 2 seconds to activate. They've also adjusted the camouflage penalty reduction on shots while the ability is active from 75% to 85%. So they've increased the camouflage while the ability is active. For autoloaders, they've added autoloading technology upgrades for any vehicle that has an autoloader component. These upgrades vary from vehicle to vehicle based on their weapon and class, and are available for purchase in the vehicle upgrade trees. Vehicles with a cannon that usually fires on the move get 5% bonus to rate of fire while firing on the move. That would be for armored fighting vehicles, light tanks, and main battle tanks. Vehicles with cannon that usually stay stationary get a 5% bonus to rate of fire while stopped, like TDs. Autocannon vehicles get a 5% overall bonus to salvo reload speed, autocannons, and anti-tank guided missiles. So going forward, all new vehicles with autoloaders will also have the above-mentioned technical upgrades available to unlock. The following vehicles now have autoloader technology upgrades: the B-1 Draco, the Bagel Panzer, the BMD-4, BMP-3, BMP-3M, BMOP, Ramka 99, BMP T-72, Challenger 2 ATDU, Leopard 2A7, the M1128 Striker, the XM8, the M8 Thunderbolt, the T-64, T-72 Ural, T-72A, T-80, T-90, T-90 MS, T-14 Armada, Type 85 2M, Type 92, Type 98, and the XM1A3. With self-propelled guns, they were feeling like the mobility wasn't where it needed to be, so they've improved the acceleration just a bit. Additionally, they've reduced the cost of all artillery smoke and illumination rounds by 50%. That's cool. Leopard 2 series changes. They weren't happy with the accuracy of the line with respect to the other main battle tanks, so they've increased the accuracy range of these vehicles. You can read more about that in the detailed patch notes in the link in the video description. For active protection systems, they've rebalanced the number of charges and reloading times of in-game active protection systems. So soft kill APS, they've adjusted the number of charges to 6. They've increased the cooldown of soft kill APS systems from 30 seconds to 60 seconds. For hard kill APS, they've adjusted the number of charges to 3. and decreased the cooldown of the APS system from 60 seconds to 30. So for the soft kill, it takes longer to recharge. For the hard kill, it takes less time to recharge. For high explosive damage correction, they fixed an issue with high explosive ammo penetration damage to components. HE spall damage was getting an additional bonus upon penetration that was destroying components such as the ammo rack in one hit. HE already does bonus damage to components, so they've removed that additional penetration bonus that was being applied to the components. The penetration bonus still applies to the vehicle hull, but components should now be safe for a little longer if an HE penetration occurs. They've made changes to the Abbott, to the Acacia, the AMX-10P, the BMD2, basically stuff like decals and shit like that. There's an acceleration decals. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all the vehicle upgrades. There's a whole bunch of those. For example, like the Leopard 2A6, they've improved accuracy to .1048 and improved the aim time to 2.8 seconds. But there's literally like 4 pages of this stuff. So rather than me read all that, I think you guys might want to, if you are interested in very specific detail information, again, check the link in the video description below. And all the vehicles are listed in alphabetical order. So if you have a special vehicle you want to know what your favorite tank, whether it's been modified or not, nerfed or buffed, then check the video description. There's a big one though for the Merkava. We're changing the name of the Merkava 2B to the Merkava 2D as part of a larger change to the vehicle that will be ongoing during future patches. After further investigation, we decided the 2D was better suited for the tier that the vehicle is at compared to the 2B. While it is still visually a 2B, we will be updating the armor package model to reflect 2D visuals in a future patch. They've shrunk the lower front plate weak point in front of the driver by roughly 30% and thickened the armor, making it more difficult to penetrate consistently. They fixed an issue where the animal and emblem decals appeared flipped on the left side of the vehicle's hull. They fixed an issue where the light from the vehicle's headlights appeared incorrectly placed. So that's a big vehicle change that will continue to be coming. Let's see. A lot of other things like changing some hit points for the T90MS, camouflage incorrect on vehicles. They made a number of changes to the XM1A3 stats, which were not in sync with other vehicles in the M1 line. That was causing the vehicle to be comparatively underperforming. As a result, they've adjusted some of its soft stat values to improve its firepower while slightly nerfing its accuracy to bring it more in line with the rest of the M1 series vehicles. The XM1A3 hit points are increased to 3625. The vision hit range has been improved to 375. They've increased the damage from both guns by 5%, increased the penetration of the 120mm ammunition by 6%, increased the rate of fire for both guns by 5%, slightly lowered the accuracy for both guns, and slowed the aim time of the 120 gun to 3 seconds and the 140 gun to 3.2 seconds. For player versus player, in Coastal Threat, they fixed an issue where there was a building was missing collision model. Ghost Field, they fixed some issues on that map. Port Storm, they fixed an issue where they had some trees growing out of cement. River Point, they had an area where players could get stuck, and they fixed that. For PvE, they've added the following missions: Operation Zero Hour, Erebus, and Basilisk, as I've said. For Direwolf, they fixed an issue where vehicles could get stuck under the building arcs. Sapphire, players could get stuck on a prop. Harbinger, yeah, they fixed, visual. It's mostly visual stuff. Life Jacket, visual. Albatross, players could get stuck in a building. They fixed that. Phalanx, map boundaries were being covered by the road. Prometheus, trees growing out of rocks. Getting stuck in construction. Cerberus, fixed some props. Red Possum, again, minimap boundaries, things like that have been fixed. Players getting stuck. Meltdown, they fixed. Ghost Hunter, they fixed. Starry Night had changes. Now, I've noticed now there are some voice problems, voice issues. So the in-game conversations from the various people who are assigning you to your missions is fucked up. So they'll have to fix that on the next one. Anvil, they made changes to Frostbite changes, Rolling Thunder changes, Stormy Winter changes, Umbrella changes, Wildfire. Fix an issue where SPGs can destroy secondary objectives without seeing them. Ricochet, Cavalry, Spearhead, Kodiak, Quarterback, Royalty. They fixed all those. The sounds, again, more information on the sounds. I actually like some of the sounds when you're inside the vehicle. I'm not a big fan of them on the outside of the vehicle. They sound too Hollywoody. Newer, bigger, punchier sounding single cannon shots for all classes and calibers at 3 levels of distance. Newer, bigger, and more impactful autocannon sounds for all rates of fire. New single-shot cannon sounds for the 152 and 140mm cannons. Newly tuned distance volume roll-off behavior for all cannon shots that can be heard more clearly over greater distance. Players and non-player cannon sounds now sound more three-dimensional and environmental feeling. New, clearer, and impactful projectile versus tank impact sounds for all round and damage types to help improve hit feedback for when you get hit and when you hit another vehicle. Yeah, I was hitting another vehicle with the autocannon and it sounded like somebody was hammering on my tank. Didn't like that one. New diesel engine sounds for all tank destroyers and armored fighting vehicles. New engine sound behaviors more realistically model engine load, RPM, speed, mass, friction, and climbing angle. New engine sound behaviors model gear changes for the diesel engine sound set. They added engine startup sequences that play during the match countdown timers I talked about. New, punchier, impactful, and world-filling projectile versus terrain sound effects at 3 levels of distance. Blah, 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 blah. So more and more of that stuff. New ambient garage sound effects that technician will no longer keep dropping his wrench. New submerged sound effects for underwater. Newly remastered tank explosion sound effects that are punchier and easier to hear. New reload sounds for smoke grenades, etc. Let's see. They fixed an issue which caused vehicle turret positions to become desynced between the server and the client in both PvE and PvP. That was where the turret's always facing the other fucking way, and you still get shot by a vehicle that absolutely split second that it spots you. It could be across the map, but if you get spotted, the turret's still facing one direction, and you get whacked, and you always get penetrated. It never bounces. Fix an issue where the reticle position will not stay in the same position when alternating the camera between first and third person. Fix an issue which caused the camera to corkscrew when zooming in and out at an overhead angle. Fix an issue where the string daily rewards was appearing on the briefing screen for PvE despite being removed. There was some garage and user-facing interchanges, and they've also made a lot of changes to the UI in there as well. They've moved some things around from the right side of the screen to the left side of the screen. So just basically go in there and play around and see what you see. So that's basically the big stuff. And I think the thing to do is get in there and check it out for yourself. Obviously, the sounds are probably a little meatier on headsets than they are over speakers, but I think all in all the changes are good. I am extremely pleased that they've been listening to the community and taking community feedback and determining what changes to try and implement or what fixes to make. In other words, when enough people reported something is not working correctly, rather than the other tank game that's out there, these guys actually said, oh shit, well let's look into that and see what we can do about it. So they're not necessarily fixing things as quickly as we'd like, but they certainly are taking the player's word for it when they start to do some investigation. So good job, Obsidian, for that. I think it's a lot less frustrating when players know that the company is actually working to try and fix things that the players are bringing to them, rather than have the company say, well, don't play on an abacus, or quit being drunk while you play, or learn how to play. So that's good news there. I'm excited about these new vehicles that are coming into the game. Like to try out some of these new high-tier vehicles. I'm excited for the new PvE missions. I think that the rotation could be better. They could have more variable rotation as opposed to getting the same map, pretty much all day, every day, or the same 3 maps all day when you're playing. But other than that, I'm very excited to see all this stuff coming in there, and I'm excited that the PvE missions are taking place on maps that you will learn in PvP, so that you can go ahead and kind of familiarize yourself with those maps. And that's basically it, guys. I was grinding for the Freedom Fight mission, and I've been busy and forgot that today was the final day of it, so I kind of probably missed out on the first part of that, but I will be grinding away for the second part of it to get my Bastille Day badge, and I look forward to seeing you guys out there. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was rather long update, but I wanted to get it out to you guys so that you knew what was happening, so when you go to log into Armored Warfare, you see this big update, you kind of can know what it's all about. So watch this video while it's updating, and it will tell you everything you need to know, and by the time this video is over, the patch will have been updated on your computer. So that's something you can do while you are waiting for it to update. Anyway, that's it. I'm just playing around for a bit, and wanted to let you guys know what was happening. So I will sign off for now. We'll finish out this particular game, and that will be the end of the video. So thanks very much for watching, everybody. Please do like and subscribe to my videos to let me know that you are watching and enjoying them. Any comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section of this or other videos that you like to make comments about. I do read everything you guys write. Also, I will have, again, the detailed patch notes link in the video description of this video, so feel free. I derped that shot really bad, didn't I? Derped the shit out of that shot. Anyway, feel free to read those, especially if you have information that you are interested in knowing about a specific vehicle. In the detailed patch notes, the vehicles are in alphabetical order, so you can scroll through there and see if your favorite vehicle has been buffed or nerfed, and if so, how. And that's about it. So everybody, thanks very much for watching. We'll just let this video play out, and I will catch you guys on the battlefield. This is Tanks for the Mammeries playing Armored Warfare, signing off for now. Thanks very much.